State Question 744 continues to sway in its support. You may remember just this week, Governor Brad Henry, he came out against the bill, which would require the state to fund common education at the average of Oklahoma's neighboring states. Our own Alex Cameron sat down with political analyst Pat McGuigan to talk about the heated issue and a lot of other hot topics from the campaign trail.
And good morning. We're happy to have Pat McGuigan with CapitalBeatOK.com with us again this Saturday morning. Pat, it's good to see you. We have several good topics to talk about, so let's get right to it. First off, kind of the big news this week is the governor, the education governor, coming out against State Question 744. Was this a surprise to you?
I knew he was against it, and he had indicated as much in interviews earlier this year. And he basically said that he would speak up more directly and forthrightly if he needed to. And I think because State Question 744 is still ahead in the polls, that he made a decision that he had to speak very boldly. And the thing about Brad Henry is he's the education governor, but that's a holistic view. It includes higher education, career tech, and of course he's been a big advocate of early childhood ed, as has his wife, Kim. And all three of those would be substantially at risk in terms of funding in the existing pool. And remember, what this does is shift money within the existing structure of state government.
Makes it a constitutional mandate that it goes to Common Ed K through 12.
Yeah, and I'd say almost as big. The governor agreeing to be the chairman of the campaign for the sprint to the finish line here is very significant. But, you know, you start to add this up, you've got David Boren and Burns Hargis, certainly two very respected and credible figures. The very next day, this past week, joined the governor in announcing their opposition. And they certainly highlighted the impact it could have on higher ed, but that wasn't their only reason. So here's what you've got. You've got a unified Republican or conservative element against the proposition. Then you have the governor, David Boren, Burns Hargis. You've got labor union leaders like Ed Allen of the AFT, a veteran of Oklahoma City Public Education.
OPEA?
Yeah, you've got OPEA, the Public Employees Group. You've got Dr. Larkin Warner from OSU, who we talked about last week, and Lex Holmes from OU, both respected economists, and their critique of it is very economics-oriented. So the advocates have a rough road to hoe, except that Oklahomans do have a predisposition to support public education, as they showed in the eventual public vote on House Bill 1017, which people sometimes forget, and for that matter, the Maps for Kids vote here in Oklahoma City. So add it all up, it's still going to be a big fight. The advocates have the most money because of the National Education Association support. So you've got the lay of the land. The television stations will make a lot of money from advertising, and the newspapers might, and radio stations. So you're going to have an advertising fight, and then you're going to have an ideas fight. And it's going to be very significant.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the governor's role is and how public he is the rest of the way on this. Let's talk about the 5th District congressional race. And we talked a little bit about this last week. Let's talk about Billy Coyle, the Democrat, and his chances here. We know, Barry Switzer has come out and endorsed him, and we've seen he has some mojo, he has some ability to sway voters. What do you think are his chances, Billy Coyle's chances?
I think that the odds are based on the voting patterns. The odds are in the Republicans' favor, James Lankford. Having said that, I have been saying pretty consistently, and my reporting bears this out, I believe that Billy Coyle is the best nominee in that district since Ernest Istook won for the Republicans against, well, now I forget her name, but it was back in 1992. It was a very competitive race. Excellent Democratic candidate, Lori Williams, forgive me. And Lori was very presentable, very compelling, did a good job in debates, very serious demeanor, 52-48, okay? And even at that point, this was handicapped as a Republican district. So if Coyle can stay within reach, if he continues to raise money, he can keep it competitive, and then maybe he'll get a break at the end. Any reasonable pundit or analyst will tell you the odds are in Lankford's favor. The thing is that Coyle is a man of substance. He will do well in debates with Lankford. He's positioned himself pro-energy, pro-jobs. concerned about some aspects of the current administration at the federal level, although generally you could probably describe him as a good mainstream Democrat, right, with some conservative leanings. So I think that adds up to a competitive race. Democrats still have registration advantages. Yeah. The jump ball is independents and self-identified conservative Democrats. If he can reach them, this could be an interesting election.
Well, at least bears continuing to watch.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Absolutely.
Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next week.
You bet. Thanks.